may have been wondering what this simulation history button is in the simulation control bar. What this does is, if we actually click it, you can see that it lists a number of variables: the feed flow rate, top tank level, intermediate flow, bottom tank level, exit flow rate. Now, these variables are what are called performance variables for this particular simulation. So these are things that could be control targets for a control system designer. It's the variables, the actual variables are set up by the simulation designer. So it's the person that constructs the simulation that decides what variables they want to go into the simulation history. If you're building a user simulation, then that's done explicitly with a button in SimBuilder. Now what happens in the simulation history is that during the simulation run, all the values of these things are recorded and they can then be looked at on the graph. So you can actually look at how the feed flow rate changed. On the graph you can see that we can actually move the cursor over the thing, and at the bottom it says measurement 0.0149 at 294 seconds after the start. So it gives you information on what the values were at particular points in the simulation. We can zoom in to this simulation and zoom back out with a right click, so we can zoom in to the simulation results. As well as the graph, it actually gives you a whole bunch of information in terms of numerical performance measures. So it gives you the target value. We'll talk about where that comes from in a minute. The maximum value that the flow rate ever reached, which is 0.0166292. The minimum value gives you the integral squared error, which is the ISE is the error being the target value subtracted from the actual measured value, then squared, and then the integral taken gives you ISE. Integral absolute error, we're taking the absolute of the error and then integrating it, and the integral time weighted absolute error, we're taking the absolute error, multiplying it by the time it occurs, and then taking the integral of that. So these are all standard and control performance measures. So we've got these histories for all of the, whoops, if I can remember which button I'm pressing. We've got these histories for all of these things, so we can look at the top tank level as well, and you can see that's the target value, is the red line there, which is on a 2 value. And we've got the actual level moving about round about that target value. So where do the target values come from? They come from the simulation configuration. So to get into that, we have to stop the simulation running, go into the configuration. Test variables, you can see we have process targets here. At the moment, we still have all these constant value, single step, random steps. At the moment, the only thing that's really properly implemented is the constant value on these things. So you can reset what you want the target value to be. But really that's not something that I've explored in the simulation, so I would recommend that you leave these values at these things which are the nominal steady state values, and really just use those as the target, the nominal steady state. I suppose at some point you could look at servo action, but it's not something I've ever really tried doing. Okay, so that's the end of this series of videos on basic PySim operation. I hope you found it useful. Thank you.